Good evening. Good evening, guys. So here I'm back again. Another live stream. I was planning on getting into some more wrestling related stuff. Just give it a little bit of time, see how we are, see if we're getting a pretty decent crowd tonight. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the link out on my social media first. So try and boost the numbers up a little bit. We'll get into some stuff. So how many? We had about 35, 40 people the last stream when I was getting into the Alex Riley, John Cena, and just was touching on WrestleMania 40. So we'll see how we are tonight. But any questions, anything you want me to get into, just leave a comment in the chat. So the numbers will start slowly but surely getting some numbers. Hope everyone's having a good evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. But yeah, so I can make a start. So with this stuff with Sammy Guevara, AEW has suspended Sammy Guevara amid controversial match incident. And this incident, which led to a suspension. This isn't the first time that he's faced disciplinary action. There's been other stuff as well. And it was Fightful Select indicated that Sammy Guevara has come under suspension following his involvement in a match against Jeff Hardy. And this was, I believe, on Rampage. It was February the 14th. In this match, Hardy suffered an injury and it appeared that concussion protocol wasn't adhered to. So there was that move. What is it? The move he does is it the shooting star or 450, and then his knee, boof, right in his face. Yeah, it was nasty. I saw the clip, but they're just saying though, when it comes to specifics regarding the duration of Guevara's suspension, additional details haven't been disclosed. It's noteworthy that he subsequently participated in a no disqualification match against Powerhouse Hobbs, though, following the counter. Yeah, so they've got something going on. He's part of that Don Callis family, is Powerhouse Hobbs. So I don't know. Is this a work? Is this a shoot? Is this legit? Is he suspended? About concussion protocol. So I mean, in a case like that, I mean, doesn't the referee, does he not have something to answer to there? If they were aware that something had happened, but they went ahead and they still were carrying on the match. I don't know. So but I mean, there's been quite a few incidents with Sammy, with stuff that, and a lot of people have pointed out and believe there's a bit of recklessness there. And there was an incident, him throwing a chair with Matt Hardy. So there has been a few things with Sammy already. And then just other things as well, with problems with talent. And there was an issue there with Eddie Kingston. And there was an issue there with Andrade. And then there's the past comments that came out later on. And then he was suspended for that back in 2020. So, yeah, he can cause problems at times, this kid, Sammy. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad guy. It's just a case of being a young guy who makes who's made some mistakes. Yeah, sure, you could put it down to that, but there's been a good few things there over time with Sammy, and with that incident, there was what happened in the match, and then afterwards there was a clip of Matt Hardy, Jeff's brother, coming out and was visibly upset, flipping Sammy off, flipping the bird. And some might say, well, that was a work. I mean, it looked pretty real to me. But then could you say, that Could you say that it was maybe he was pissed off, but he was still working at the same time, Hardy? Yeah, you could say that. That might have been the case. But again, yeah, it was a knee right to the face. But one thing we do have to remember, though, in wrestling, mistakes happen. Mistakes it happens when you're out there in the ring. I mean, Christ, there was the running power bomb that D'Lo Brown did to Draws. Um, you know, Billy Kidman, there was the shooting star press he had done on Chavo, and Chavo ended up in the hospital. I mean, you could pinpoint and go back on quite a few things. There was the thing with, was it Brie Bella kicking Liv Morgan, but Luce knocked it out, right? So these things happen, mistakes happen. Nakamura dropped Cena on his head with a suplex. It's never going to be always pitch perfect out there. And I know, again, that's their job. They've got to get it right in national wrestlers. But again, people are human. Mistakes can be made, but then that's something very serious there, and serious enough that they've decided to suspend Sammy. So maybe, I don't know. He could be in the doghouse for a while, even once he's brought back. Maybe so. I mean, he's got quite a strong ally in Jericho, but then with Jericho, though, there's already been stuff out there with Jericho, but it's starting to die down, though, about that whole thing about allegedly Jericho having an NDA, and people are starting to forget about that. But yeah, I mean, the thing was, I initially with Sammy, I thought he was all right. I felt like he had something to him, and then as time went on, the guy was a little bit. I don't know. There was something that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit about him, how he comes off, and I don't know, just something about his attitude a little bit I didn't like, and certain things like what he was saying, when he was like, you know, ripping into Andrade and saying, "Oh, you were a pity hire and whatever you were," and like some of the stuff I'm thinking, well, you were very lucky, Sammy. If Jericho just didn't, if Jericho didn't see something in you, it's like, where would you be with your career? And not only that there was a billionaire in Tony Khan that set up a U wrestling company. Where would you be, Sammy? So there was little things about that I didn't quite like. There was a bit of an arrogance there that Sammy had that rubbed me the wrong way, and it probably rubbed some people the wrong way with him on how he can carry himself at times. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's funny because then his wife now, Ty Conti, they've got a kid, and initially when it came out, they were together, and they're trying to present them both as baby faces, but then the fans were booing. They didn't like these guys either. There was something about them that even to the fans, those smart mark fans, they felt, I think, Sammy and maybe Ty come off a little bit fake. So, and I know Sammy does his thing. He has his blog, and he seems to be fairly well liked by people backstage, and past comments, the whole stuff with Sasha Banks, you can you write it off? Well, can you give him? Can you put it down as just a young guy making a mistake, saying some stupid shit? Yeah, you can. But then sometimes with some people in life, there's patterns there. There is patterns, and you've got to look out for them. But the thing was, I mean, some people are saying, well, I guess maybe some people might think it's a work because like Sammy continued on, because now all of a sudden it's came out that he's been suspended. So I don't know. Is this whole discipline committee that AEW has? That's how he got suspended. I don't know, but uh, he it'll be interesting to see, because again, these guys like Alvarez and whoever, I think they were acting as if, was it Hangman Page had an injury, but it was a storyline injury. They were acting as if it was a shoot, and again, they're connected to AEW. They put out things favorably about AEW and are not very, very rarely are critical of the AEW product. Alvarez and Meltzer, and Meltzer's been saying some proper messed up shit as of late. But these guys, they have no problem going along with the work. You know what I mean? as opposed to, I thought the whole purpose of the dirt sheet was to just report the legit things that were going on backstage and point out that such and such was a shoot or a work shoot or just a work or whatever. But these guys are getting worked and getting played and used themselves. You know what I mean? But yeah, I suppose it's just how it is it in wrestling. Workers gonna work. But I mean, I don't follow AEW as much. I used to follow it quite a bit around the time when the Pinnacle were doing that storyline with Inner Circle. I thought there was like potential there for that storyline to be pretty good. So I was following Dynamite. I was usually watching it every week. But then I just got to a point where I lost interest. I didn't care to watch it anymore. I didn't really like it. Hey, it'll be good to see you. Yeah, yeah, back again. Yeah, I'll maybe try and at least do a live stream once a week. You know what I mean? All right, right. And do you follow the WWE product? See, I'm kind of the opposite from you. I was following AEW quite a bit, and then I almost totally stopped following WWE. For almost like 4 or 7 years. But then I keep in touch and see what's happening on social media and that. You know what I mean? But follow it lightly. Yeah, you can catch everything. You get everything within seconds, do you? You get all the clips on social media. It's all there. You know what I mean? So you can keep up to date with what's going on. So I don't know. Are you familiar with this Sammy Guevara guy? Then Obi, that's he's been suspended. He injured Jeff Hardy in a match. It was like a shooting star press gone wrong. Took a knee right to the face. Did Hardy? Oh yeah, it's hard for me to sit through a show. I mean, I had that before Obi. Last year at WrestleMania. I can't remember if it was night one or night two, Obi, but it was when the opening match was Cena and Austin Theory. I watched the match. Theory won, and then after that, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't follow the rest of Wrestle friggin' Mania. And I don't know. I mean, I might watch this WrestleMania. Can't guarantee I'd watch all of it, but maybe like the main matches, the tag match, maybe Rollins and McIntyre, and maybe, the main event with Cody and Roman. Just for the purpose of like talking about it, if I'm doing this, but I don't even know if I can sit through the whole WrestleMania. I didn't even, I watched most of 20, no, not, what would it have been now? 37, most of 37, but it's hard, man, because there's a lot of stuff there. It's just not entertaining. You know what I mean? But yeah, give me your comments, guys. What do you think about this stuff about Sammy Guevara being suspended? Do you think it's a work, or do you think it's a shoot? Right? Yeah, yeah. That was a tough one. The clips all over the internet, isn't it? Yeah, I mean that's the real thing now. That's what's keeping you intrigued, isn't it? To see, is The Rock, what's going to happen there? Is Rock going to turn on Roman? Is Rock a double agent? Is Rock going to help Cody? And I guess they're making the little teases about The Rock and the whole throwing, like, he doesn't do the exact bloodline thing, but it's like he's like doing the L, like to signify loser, like to Roman. Um, it's little things like that though that do keep you intrigued to think, well, what's going to happen? I mean, some people. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, Roman could win, but then, I mean, again, I don't know. You might. I mean, in the crowd, there'll probably be a sign. Will there? There'll be if Roman wins, re riot. But I don't know. It looks like Cody's probably going to win, and then there'll be a screwy finish to protect Roman. That's my guess. Yeah, yeah. I just wonder the exact backstory behind it about this whole thing about not fall adhering to concussion protocol. Would is there not will there not be heat on the ref though? Would there not be heat on the referee for not doing anything, or just shouldn't in that position in that place the referee should have stopped the match? But then this stuff, this happened with Guevara, and it was not just even he threw, he recklessly threw a chair at Hardy in one, and there was one case on Dynamite, and then in a pay per view match, Hardy, like, Hardy was supposed to it was they were up on a ladder, and then he fell through the table, but then boof, banged his head from freaking concrete, and he was out, and I don't know if Rampage was that live? Was it Rampage, that show? I thought it was taped. They have that secondary show Rampage, and they tape that. But then they've got 3 shows now. They had the Collisions show that, so they had a separate team that would appear on Collision. This was to appease Punk because of what happened with the Punk and the Bucks and Omega, and Punk didn't want to be around those guys. Well, and I suppose the feeling was probably the same. The feeling was mutual. Oh, you'd think so. Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't know. Because people are saying because he wrestled a match after that, you know, um, and it was against this guy Powerhouse Hobbs. People are thinking now, well, is maybe this just a work now? But again, AEW have this whole thing about a special committee or whatever who made these decisions. I think Daniel Bryan was part of it. Bryan Danielson. Well, he was with the whole thing with Punk. I mean that whole thing with Punk and Jack Perry incident, and then they decided to let Punk go. And I guess Bryan Danielson played a part in that. Um, but yeah, so the first inductee then for the Hall of Fame, Paul Heyman. It's going to be in Philadelphia, right? It was a Friday, right? The day before the first night of WrestleMania. And I suppose based on what he's accomplished in the business, manager, promoter, commentator, he's worn so many hats, right? Then, based on that, it's well deserved, no doubt. It's well deserved, right? But by the same token, Paul Heyman, some of the stuff with him on a personal level, and so many people wrestling that he was a pathological liar, he was a habitual liar. Some of the lies are proper when you get into it and find out about him are very dark, very wicked. And a lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people have heat with him in the business, or maybe we could say had heat. And that's not just, you're not even just talking like, well, there's the ECW guys, people there had heat with him. Then there's even people in WWE that had heat with him. AJ Styles called Paul Heyman a bold-faced liar because he had told AJ Styles he let him believe that the Good Brothers would be fine, they wouldn't be getting released. But then when there's that like that releases when the pandemic hit, after they were gone. Um, Yeah, yeah. You know what? Heyman is pretty entertaining, Obi, no doubt, no doubt. I think at times it's a little over the top. You know what I mean? Paul Heyman. He's a little OTT. Um, but for a while it was just the same old shtick, Obi. But there's times where he really does knock it out of the park and he delivers good promos. But there's times though when it's like the whole, oh, my name is Paul Heyman shtick, and he was doing that for freaking years, man. A lot of it was just same old, same old. Um, it was probably to me more enjoyable to watch when he was doing that stuff during the invasion angle, when he was the heel commentator. And then even when he was, came back as the general manager and he was, remember in SmackDown that time when he was, the trench coat and the Yankees cap? Even the first time round managing Brock Lesnar, he was all right then. Some of the promos though, I wasn't a huge fan of the recent promos. Yeah, I know, but it is entertaining, Obi. But it's like I think he fancies himself as a thespian, as an actor. But it's like, well, no, you're in the wrestling business. You're a entertaining guy. You're a manager. Like I said, what a few hats. But um, he's I wouldn't say he's my favorite person, but um, I just wonder who will induct him. Will it be CM Punk? Will he induct him? Will it be Brock? No, they can't. They couldn't do. Brock Lesnar can't induct him, right? So it's probably going to be what? Maybe Punk. I'm trying to think who else would Roman induct him? Maybe. To me, it's probably Brock's out, isn't he? Yeah, it's probably going to either be a toss up between CM Punk or Roman Reigns, right? They're like the two main Paul Heyman guys, right? Unless you're going to go back to ECW time and get like a guy like Tommy Dreamer. I don't know, Tommy Dreamer, Bubba Ray Dudley. Would they maybe be two guys that you could get to induct them? You never know. I don't know, RVD would be involved. You might have a whole thing there of like being in Philadelphia. They might have like a extreme reunion of some sorts, right? I like the old ECW guys will come. They'll be there in attendance. Possibly, yeah. What do you think, though, Obi? Do you think Punk will be involved in WrestleMania in some way? Some people say he might get involved in the Drew Seth match, right? Yeah, ECW. Dur, dur, dur. Dur, dur, dur. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the times when somebody's injured, they don't appear, I can remember that, WrestleMania 16, Austin wasn't on that, and that felt a little bit weird, but it was still an all right show, I think. I know it doesn't go down as one of the best WrestleManias, but I think for me as a kid watching that, it was quite enjoyable, 17 is seen as probably the best one, and I would probably agree with that, I started my first ever pay-per-view will be hear this. It was WrestleMania 15, right? So WrestleMania was already up on a pedestal. That's like the big show, And then I saw 16, then I saw 17. Yeah, 17 probably goes down as the best one, though. Yeah. But what the hell has Seth Rollins been saying though? Diarrhea Dwayne. Some like this hokey shit that Seth Rollins comes out with. or they get him to come out with, because I bet he didn't write this, right? Yeah, Drew McIntyre said, "Bro really thought he said something." Yeah, yeah. Rock would murder him on the mic. Rollins, he would murder him. Michael Landsberg. Does he do podcasts? I don't know if he would do mine, but I know that Chris Van Vliet dude. He's done guys. He's done podcasts with guys that like haven't had that big, don't have that big of a following. You're talking like 2,000, 3,000 subscribers, but don't know if I could get Michael Landsberg though. That would be interesting. Interesting. I'll look out for that. Yeah. Well, what one thing with Landsberg is Landsberg asks the difficult questions. That thing you got to appreciate about Michael Landsberg. He'll ask the difficult questions, and he's not doing the he wouldn't do this softball shit like Van Vliet and Sam Roberts would do, with the guys, because they're about losing their connection with WWE. You know, Michael Landsberg with his off the record show, I guess around that time of like what late 90s to mid noughties, it was at its peak, right? Where they get all the big stars on, WWE stars. Um, but Landsberg, he didn't give a shit about losing connections or whatever. You know, Journalism's kind of dead now, though. These guys are too worried to ask the difficult questions. You get maybe one or two that have the guts to, but most of them are too afraid, aren't they? 250 subscribers. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe it was someone you though. Is that maybe what it could be? You, this guy, did him a favor. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you something. I have been thinking, PC, of getting certain people on who've been in the business, because I keep gradually, I'm growing the channel. Oh yeah, yeah. Send the link over, mate. Yeah, I'm gradually growing the channel, so I think I can get to that stage now where I can get X talent on. Um, at one point, yeah, I was just about to get into Sting, Justin. Hiya. Um, I didn't grow up on Sting. I started watching WCW in 2000, Justin, but around that time Sting wasn't on. I don't really have any memories of Sting from my childhood. Um, but yeah, I'm at a stage now where I could probably, like, certain X talent I could probably get on. I was in talks about trying to get PCO on, but that was around the time when PCO was on Impact. Then he was going to do appearances for AEW, so nothing came of that. Yeah, but the Sting, overall, I found it a little bit odd. Wouldn't Sting, though, in his last match, though, wouldn't he do the honors for someone, though? Wouldn't you, like, put someone over? And yeah, I wasn't aware that Sting was undefeated in his entire AEW run. But I believe was every match that he did pretty much was a tag match, right? He was like a tag with Darby, or a 6-man tag, I believe, right? Um, Oh, have you got the link for the Landsberg thing, PC? He did an interview on Hannibal's channel. I can't see it. I think there's a thing where I can't see it in the chat for some reason. Certain messages I can't see right now. Oh yeah, yeah, Keegan, yeah, yeah. 274 subscribers. Hmm. Yeah, he doesn't have many views on his channel. I just wonder if is that actually his interview or did he just upload clips from other channels and that's what it is? Thank you, thank you. Well, you know, no, I asked the tough. I'll ask the tough questions. You know, I'll ask. I won't pussyfoot around things. Right, it is him. Right, okay. Yeah. I've got an interesting little tidbit here for you. I don't know if you guys have seen my video I did on the Caitlyn Triple H story. You know, Ryback was saying something about that maybe there's a story there to do with Caitlyn and Triple H that something happened there. Someone commented on the video and said that her ex once said that Seth Rollins was sending naked pictures to Caitlyn during their marriage. I believe that more than the Triple H story. So I don't know. Is there any truth to this? Is this just bullshit? I mean, I know there was the whole thing with Seth Rollins. He got caught sending dick pics, right? He was just before they were he was waiting to win the belt, right? Yeah, yeah, because it was what was it? Was his ex or something that came? She leaked the pictures, right? Well, he was cheating on her with somebody or something, right? And his ex was like, she was a little bit strange as well, right? She was, I believe, she was on NXT at one point, and then she also like she had like a Nazi tattoo or something like that. Does that ring a bell? Feels a while. Feel that feels like so long ago now. That's like, gosh, that's like what 9 years ago now. Well, that's how it can be, PC. I mean, it is that thing, isn't it? In wrestling, a lot of couples, a lot of people in the business. It can happen. There's that dynamic in the workplace, that sexual dynamic. I mean, just trying, you know, I worked in oil and gas, and there was people I knew who I work with. They got together, and these two particular guy and girl I got along all right with. They ended up getting married. So, yeah, these things happen. Yeah, but I guess you could put that down to Seth being young and dumb, right? He's married to Becky now, and they've got a kid. So, you know, that would be something if I was to get. Imagine that if I was to get Caitlyn's ex on the channel for an interview. I'm sure if I did some digging, I'd find something, right? I could find him. Yeah. I mean, maybe there is something to that. Maybe something did happen there that maybe, but maybe it wasn't necessarily anything inappropriate on his part. It might have been that, you know, they were both just, they spent a lot of time backstage, were interacting a lot. And maybe Stephanie caught that and she lashed out at Caitlyn. She thought that Caitlyn was trying to come on to her husband, Hunter. She was just coming off a bit over friendly. I don't know. But maybe there was something there. Oh no, thank you, Pete. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's just consistency is the key. You know what I mean? And it's not just that because I was a fan of wrestling. I've been still for 20 plus years a fan. I was hooked on it. Once you're hooked, it's hard to let go. And there's other stuff I do talk about. I have talked about in this channel before, but I wouldn't say I was like half-hearted about it, but I just had more of a flair for talking about this stuff here. Um, yeah, yeah. There's people I could definitely get people on and cover a lot of this stuff. The Vince McMahon allegations and yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, the Diddy thing was. I still plan on doing a couple of videos on that. I was thinking about doing a video maybe about Jay Z. Um, Jay Z and Diddy are very close, and I think there's stuff there about Jay Z, some probably proper dark, sketchy stuff there with him too. You know, yeah, yeah. I heard the stories about Justin Bieber and Usher. I mean, it's just what can you say? Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's patterns. You know. Yeah, we know the deal. Yeah, I've seen that clip of Diddy and Justin Bieber. This is when Justin Bieber just started, right? And it's quite awkward, isn't it? It's yeah. Yeah, but it's proper messed up some of the stuff about Usher though as well, even at that age. There was Diddy's ex-bodyguard was saying about something about a story about Usher ended up in the hospital or something, and just think, God, what could have been happening there? Just like, gee. But yeah, the Vince McMahon, I know. I had an article on that McMahon pockets staggering fee just months after resigning executive chairman of TKO following sex trafficking allegations, as the former WWE boss sells more than 5 million shares in the company. So I think it was was it 400 plus million he made or something like that? I think he's now got about like a 9% stake left in TKO. Well, I mean, I don't know if it would be a thing of him worried about, worried that they'll freeze his assets or something. And that's him wanting to get all that money, sell his stock, and I don't know, get that cash stored somewhere in a vault or something, or maybe get that all out in a bank in Switzerland or some shit. I don't know, but yeah. So it was about $400 million in British pounds. That's about 325 million, but a shitload of money nonetheless. He's still got a bit though, 9%. That'll still be a lot though. Just wonder though, will there be more stuff? It's the guy Ben Hameen who's on Vince Russo's channel. He says that he thinks that maybe that week of WrestleMania there'll be more bombs dropped, but not even necessarily to do with Vince, but it could be all the people around him, like the other executives. Could be stuff there on Triple H. I don't know, Michael Hayes, Bruce Pritchard. Could be a lot of shit out there. Yeah, I know, but that's how a lot of guys fall, though, eh? Peace. That's how that's how R. Kelly fell. That's how Harvey Weinstein fell. A lot of guys, a lot of guys. It's yeah. Warren Buffett said it the best. It takes years to build a reputation, but seconds to destroy it. Yeah, so she alleged that Janelle Grant alleged McMahon and another executive, which that was John Laurinaitis, wasn't it? They locked her in a room in Stamford, Connecticut headquarters in June of 2021. Had they not moved their headquarters at that point? Did they move? Remember when they did that Money in the Bank match in 2020? Was that they did it there because they were actually they had done using that building as an office, and that was going to get they were moving elsewhere for their headquarters. Am I not? Is that right? Or the whole thing of locking her in a room though, and that sounds like madness, doesn't it? But then other people working, but then if it's the guy that owns the company, they're paid to do anything, right? A wrongian. Where are you from, PC? Are you from Scotland too? But I agree with you. I feel John Cena is not a good guy. He's another shady character. Well, it just happens in so many industries. This stuff will be music, Hollywood. It's just nice, nice. Someone the other day or yesterday, PC said to me, "Oh, it's a shame you're from Aberdeen, right?" And I just said to them, "Let me guess, you're from Glasgow." And it was a girl. She said, "How do you know?" And I said, "That's something that somebody from Glasgow that's a Rangers or Celtic fan would say. It's a shame you're from Aberdeen." I just knew it, right? Yeah, it's just that intuition I have, man. Do you have a team, by the way? You a Rangers man, a Celtic man? Could have been worse. Could have been Edinburgh. Well, listen. I mean, I've got family in Glasgow. I've got family in Edinburgh. I've got cousins in Glasgow, auntie there. My mom's from Edinburgh. So I was down there a lot. I visit my grandparents there a lot as a kid, and as a teenager. But I don't know. I like Glasgow and Edinburgh. If I'm honest, I probably like Edinburgh more. Sorry, but the Glasgow is much more modern. Edinburgh still has that more traditional look. The architecture. Yeah, I mean, no, it's nice. It's nice, isn't it? It's just walking through Princess Street alone is really it's nice. I enjoy that. Did you did you follow Insane Championship Wrestling much, PC? Did you watch that? Do you follow the guys like Grado and all of them? Ah, oh, you're Rangers. Right, right. A good friend of mine, he's a Rangers fan too. He grew up here in Aberdeen though. Um yeah, yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean he did pretty well. I mean, I think he must have been getting paid a bit by WWE, to ensure that like when they took a lot of the guys that they built up and then they went to NXT UK. I get the feeling that they had like an all right working relationship where they compensated him, for them ultimately they were gonna get his top talent. I feel that's probably what happened there, right? And then Insane Championship Wrestling was on the WWE network for a while too. So yeah, yeah, I know, I know. He did well, man. He had big ideas. He was ambitious, and yeah, you got to give him his due, right? You got to give him his due. I'm reading something here that Ryback completely buries Paul Heyman. I don't know how true this is. I know he said he had heat with Heyman, right? But I don't follow Ravy Davy, no, but I do hear he's a bit of a character on social media, right? And I heard that John Cena follows Ravy Davy. You should see John Cena's his wrestling Twitter. The amount of people that he follows back is crazy, right? And he follows mostly like right wing Twitter accounts. I mean, I would say I'm more to the right on a lot of things. When it came to bloody, you know, the pandemic and whole thing of having to forcing you to get the jab and on to wear masks all the time. But yeah, Cena though, he follows a shitload of people on Twitter. I just wondered, is he the one managing his account the whole time and he's following these people, or he's got someone doing that for him? But all right, so that's the key, right? That's the key if you have a blue tick. But the thing is, the significance of the blue tick, that's not there anymore, PC, isn't it? Because now, Elon changed all of that in 2022, Well, I think in places like Australia and New Zealand, they were forcing the jabs on people and forcing them, and the people, the old folks in the care homes, and there's footage there. And yeah, I think I know the interview. It's these Glaswegian guys, PC. Yeah, because I know I think they're the same guys that interviewed that rapper Shogun. Have you heard of Shogun, the rapper? He had that freestyle Vulcan. Right, yeah, yeah. I know he was on the rap game, and he had a bit of a beef with that other rapper. I don't even know the guy Ransom, He's done some stuff with the BBC. I think he's like more of a presenter now than he's a rapper. Um yeah, but I mean Sting, one thing with Sting, I thought it was a bit surprising that he won. He won his last match. Usually, on your way out, your last match, you lose. I know that doesn't happen all the time, right? But more often than not, you lose. Your last match, and then you just vacate the belts. It's irrelevant, right? Being a tag champion, that what you couldn't just at least have Darby Allin keep the belt and then find another a replacement champ. You know, Yeah, I know. A lot of people said that was bullshit. PC, yeah, that Triple H went over. You know what? To be fair, that match, it was a nice, entertaining, fun match. To be fair, because when you think about it, if they just did the typical match, the typical wrestling match, it would have been a bit boring, But having that surprises of the end, the DX coming out and the NWO was, I thought it was all right, to be fair. Yeah, a lot of it is quite hokey, isn't it, PC? I don't know, do you follow WWE a little bit or AEW, or you just don't follow any of it? But a lot of it is quite hokey though and quite lame though. I agree. Yeah, oh yeah. I don't even get what his gimmick is, PC. I don't even get what the gimmick is, you know? Like, when he was doing that whole Monday Night Messiah thing as a heel, at least it was something a little bit different. And he kind of had that like cult following. He had Buddy Murphy, he had Austin Theory. He did the thing, was it with the what do you call it? The AOP, they were in it as well. Like there was something it was a little different, but I thought it was somewhat interesting, you know? Yeah, this whole thing of him just like wearing these ridiculous, outlandish outfits and shit. Yeah, I'm not really a fan. Yeah. And I don't know what his whole deal is. When he takes shots at The Rock in interviews, I feel like, yeah, I know he's working, but I think at the same time, it's a little bit of a shoot, right? Some of his comments and his digs. And it's like, who are you to be really taking a dig at The Rock on anything? What he's achieved in the business is 20 times more than what you to the table. What I mean, realistically, come on. I know they try and make him out like he's a modern day Shawn Michaels. It's like, but come on, no, he's an all right worker, but he's not at that level of like a star. You know what I mean? The overall, the charisma, entertainment value, the promos, just not there. No, he's not. I know, but you know what WWE are like though, right? PC, they're going to rewrite history and make him out like he's like a top 15, top 20 star. I don't even know if he was be. I don't even know if he would be a top 30 star. You know? Yeah, I know. But a lot of it, that's that niche crowd, the minority, but they appear to be the majority because they get up in arms and they moan and rah rah rah. We want Cody. And you know what they say, right? Whoever shouts the loudest, right? And they fell for this shit, this whole finish the story shit. And because some people said that they knew the deal, what was going to happen with the negative crowd reaction, but I don't think they anticipated that. When they brought in the Rock and it was going to be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, and then it was like their most disliked video of all time on their YouTube channel. Um, Rock and Roman, that was the match, though. That was the match, to see who would be the head of the table. Yeah. And again, would they do it next year's WrestleMania? Maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Be that was the match. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's entertaining seeing Rock as a heel, but to me, it was still the match. That was you know, who's going to be the head of the table, Rock or Roman? You have the entire family in the front row. You have everybody there. You have the Rock's mum. You have Rikishi. You have Haku. You have Sika, Roman's dad. You have them all out there, all the cousins, everybody. That would have been, the build up alone, you know what I mean, would have been brilliant. But I don't know. I think they've screwed it up though. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking PC because he's going to be 52 in 2 months' time. I don't think he's got another match in him. I think this was meant to be it. And so many things change. With The Rock going on the joining the TKO board, and I mean, he's getting 30 million just to be on the board. It's like, well, he doesn't need to wrestle, does he? He doesn't need to risk getting hurt. Well, you never know because he hadn't wrestled in about a year, right? He was away for a whole year, right? And then he wrestled Cena. Oh no, no, sorry, because he wrestled Punk as well, didn't he? He wrestled Punk. But then the match at WrestleMania 13, he got injured, and yeah, he probably will get injured. If these guys, they're not used to the wear and tear, and I don't. I usually do my daily video, guys, my daily wrestling video. I don't know actually what to talk about for it. I still might plan on doing one, but I don't know what to talk about. Can you guys think of anything good that I should get into, or what do you think? Hey, presto. Right. Yeah, well, I suppose, right, yeah. But then it's just like Undertaker, Undertaker was a part-timer, right? And then, the match, Lesnar Lesnar ends the streak. Taker was knocked out. Taker gets back. He's in Gorilla. He collapses. He just yeah, he wasn't used to it. And age was catching up on him. And then Lesnar's a very physical guy. Sure, it goes without saying he can be pretty stiff, and he lays it in. And then what can you do? Yeah, about Sting and his retirement. So Sting's sons were out. His sons were out, and one of them had the blonde flap top and the Surfer Sting look, and the other one had the NWO Wolfpack look, which was a very nice touch. It was cool to see his sons out there for his last match. I thought it was a very nice moment. And it looks like I think they're training to be wrestlers, right? So they really got something to them. Like they've got that athletic gene from their father. Um, Sting was one of the good guys, right? He was known as one of the good guys. He just comes off like a good guy with character, doesn't he? And I know maybe it was just when he became a born again Christian, he really turned his life around, but he seems like a good dude. Are you talking about Sami Zayn, Presto? Sami Zayn, I think it's Sami Zayn facing Gunther, right? Oh, Sammy Guevara, yeah. So, sorry, I had to think there. Yes, he's been suspended. Supposedly, it's a shoot suspension, but then who knows? These wrestling news sites can get worked, right, by AEW. But was suspended for what happened with the injury with Jeff Hardy, with the shooting star press gone wrong, or was it a 450 or whatever, taking Hardy took the knee right to the face. I hear that Gunther gets a lot of rave reviews, right? He's a good wrestler and he's pretty good heel as well, a good villain. I haven't followed him enough, but from the little things I've seen, a couple of things seems all right. To be fair, yeah. Sports Kita, crazy backstage stories about Vince. Well, the thing is, Presto, he had a match after that. After that Hardy match, he wrestled the guy Powerhouse Hobbs. So I suppose it's maybe a bit questionable that he wasn't suspended right away. But then maybe there was just some you know how AEW are, their investigation or their special committee or whatever they've got, you know. But yeah, what do you think? What would you like me to talk about wrestling related though, guys? Give me like something like a topic that I could get into and you know I could sink my teeth into. Good old AEW internal investigation. It just sounds so hokey when Tony Khan comes out with that bullshit. It's just like you're the boss, you're the man, make a decision. The buck stops with you. I mean, you never hear that. I know they're like sketchy guy, but as far as being in terms of being an owner and a leader, McMahon, right? Vince McMahon never would have done that whole thing with that. RVD in the Hall of Fame. RVD, he is in the Hall of Fame, yeah. Wrestlers that should be in the Hall of Fame that aren't. That's probably quite a good one to do, Presto. Yeah, I suppose thinking ones off the top of my head, Presto. Right, Rick Martel is one. Lex Luger is another one. I suppose would you count Owen Hart? But then I suppose I know the whole thing. Owen Hart, his wife Martha doesn't want him, and very critical of the company in general, and you know of that Hall of Fame, saying how it's not a real Hall of Fame and all that stuff. Any other names that you can think of, guys? Who's not in the Hall of Fame but you believe should be? They eventually will put everybody in the Hall of Fame, you know, when you think about it. You know, Spike Dudley. Yeah, I know. The bloodline stuff, yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's actually maybe a good idea, PC. Maybe that would be one. Yeah, maybe I would. I think when they started putting Godfather and Rikishi in, even though I thought like they were entertaining characters, I felt at that stage they were starting to really, it was becoming diluted, the Hall of Fame, you know? I mean, really, I mean, art is, you know, people like, you know, you know, people like Stacy Keebler, Beth, you know, well, Beth Phoenix is a good wrestler, but Stacy Keebler, Tori Wilson, were they really Hall of Famers? I don't know. Oh no, no, I'll plan on doing that PC. Yeah, the SmackDown stuff. Yeah, I think I might do a video later tonight on the Bloodline stuff. You know, because I mean I've got other stuff I'm sitting on. I've got like a list of stuff like things that I intend and plan on speaking about. You know, I think it's good to have that. So I'm always thinking the next 2 3 videos ahead. But I think that's a good idea. I could maybe come back to that wrestlers should be in the Hall of Fame one who aren't. But I think the bloodline stuff, that's actually a good idea. I think I'm going to do that. Wow, yeah. So they got The Rock in the next 4 SmackDowns. That's good. That'll be good for ratings. And you think then they'd get a good house. Then they would. You should sell out when you know you've got Rock advertised, right? Yeah. Nah, it was cool to see The Rock. You know, he was. I think he's listening to what people are saying online, right? Because he's wearing the old school, you know, $500 shirt, the silk shirts, and he's looking like part of the old, you know, heel walk. And no, it was cool. You know, he's still got that. Just you know, he was my guy back in the day. You know. Mm. I can't wait to see Paul Heyman's over the top facial expressions again. My name is Paul Heyman. He was doing that shtick for about what 7, 8 years, just same old shtick, right? It's like, gee, that's how it was it PC? It was like you were either a Rock guy or an Austin guy, and then some people like Triple H, some kids would like Triple H, and some would like Undertaker, but it was usually like Austin or Rock, wasn't it? Drew Carey, I remember that Royal Rumble. I remember watching that when Drew Carey was in it. I don't think he's fully stuck in Attitude Era. I think he's just pushing the boundaries. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't cancel The Rock, right? Rock can say what he can say whatever he wants. He can say about things, people in Arizona being all full of you know meth heads or whatever it was. But nah, it was a funny promo. To be fair, I'm not saying it was like classic Rock best promo ever, but it was good. It was good. Yeah, the thing with Drew Carey, um, I always remember, like as a kid, thinking it was so cool. Like Drew Carey, that would be like cool because like Drew Carey didn't get hurt. He had that thing as like a rest, like when you're a kid, and you know how it can be like there's characters like Kane you're scared of and that, but and you know what I mean. You might have a nightmare that a wrestler was beating you up or something, and it was quite cool as a kid to see. Oh, Drew Carey, he just went in a Royal Rumble, but he didn't actually get hurt. Well, he did get choked by Kane, but I'm sure Kane, he wasn't a proper strong choke. Kane was safe. He protected him. But come on, this is Dwayne the Rock Johnson we're talking about, the big Hollywood star, though. You know what I mean? He can say whatever he wants. He can get away with it. Does anybody follow Vince Russo? Because Russo is one that's very critical of Cody. He thinks Cody's kind of like a bit of an asshole, comes off like a bit obnoxious, like a heel. You know what I mean? He said he's a bit of a yeah. Vince Russo is not a Cody Rhodes fan at all. But then I don't think what do you call it? Yeah. Cody doesn't like Vince either, though. Kane was the wrestler I was scared of. PC. It was like he's the wrestler you'd have a nightmare about when you're a kid. Oh, of course, yeah. Presto, you can't boo Rock. You know, and I think fans are starting to cheer him a bit. I felt on that show there were still fans cheering him. You know what I mean? Um, how can you not? I'm reading here what Ryback said about Paul Heyman. So remember, probably take what Ryback says with a pinch of salt, and this might be a sign. I'll start reading this, and then I'll explain in the end. So he's saying Paul Heyman, aka Oswald Cobblepot, has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I just want to say, personal congratulations to this pizza stuffing, fudgel sickle, pop shit stain, whitey tighty wearing sloth of a human being. Paul has made a great career for himself, being a lazy, lying, cheating, shortcut taking, just manipulative, horrible human being, and he's actually a great fit for the Hall of Fame. This whole thing seems very rushed, and it just makes you wonder, with everything going on with WWE, and Vince McMahon's lawsuit with Brock Lesnar's involvement and Lesnar with Heyman, it just makes you kind of think, doesn't it? And Paul, just know that the big guy Ryback thinks you're a grade A piece of shit and you're not nearly as good on the microphone as you think they are. Oh, I mean, as they think you are. But the thing is, right? The thing is, I was watching some old Ryback videos, right? And he was going through his time in WWE from like the early Nexus days to the very end, just as when he quit. And he, in the end, he didn't really say that many. Like, he was critical of Heyman, but it wasn't that critical of Heyman. He was more critical of Punk. And he was actually saying at times that Paul Heyman, he was an all right guy. And he just said that the whole thing about Punk had heat with Ryback. And Heyman was just, being very close friends with Punk. Heyman was guilty by association. So this might be a sign here that this might be just Ryback bullshitting and just working, because it's like you went from saying, "Oh, Paul was an all right guy, he was just guilty by association," to he just bodied the fuck out of him. I mean, it's funny, but then a lot of this might just be Paul Heyman Ryback just working, right, trying to get some heel heat. Yeah, there's a lot of bitterness there with Ryback PC. He doesn't, in some ways, he doesn't do himself any favors. It's like, yeah, he speaks a lot of truth about WWE, and it is, a toxic environment. But at the same time, he doesn't endear himself to all that many people online, and maybe he doesn't give a shit. He said stuff about WWE suppressing his social media accounts. He's accusing them of doing that. But then it's maybe just that thing. Once he left WWE, people weren't just checking for him as much. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, people aren't, you got all those followers, you got the 1 million followers on Twitter. That was from your time in WWE. But it's not as if like all of a sudden you've left WWE and that's going to keep growing and growing consistently. You know what I mean? It's like Enzo, he got a ton of followers, but then as soon as he left WWE, that would have probably dropped off, or he never would. Don't think he would have gained as many followers, But that's just how it is, The machine, the machine get behind you, and maybe, yeah, maybe that's a good point, PC. Yeah, I don't know with Ryback. I mean, I don't know if does he get good money out of those TikTok videos? I don't know. He does a lot of that stuff on YouTube about, him just videos of him eating food, and I don't know. It's not my thing personally. As far as like him being straight up telling the truth, like fair enough, but right, yeah. Again, I don't know that whole thing with TikTok and battles and that. I do have a TikTok account, but I'm not, you know, I don't, I'm not a big TikTok guy. You won't catch me in TikTok doing any of those, synchronized dances or anything like that. But a little bit more like Maven. Yeah, yeah, Maven's done pretty well with his channel, right? Um, I mean, the growth of his channel, it did surprise me somewhat, which made me think, is that fully organic? Is he buying followers? Is he buying subscribers? Is he buying views? It seemed awful quick, but he was doing it in that like proper, way that the big people folk do it. You know what I mean? Like that professional way. Um, I just know though he plays a lot of clips like WWE stuff though, so that I imagine would be copyright, right? So you wouldn't make money off those videos, but then you've got a big following from that point though, and off the back of that, you can do videos and then you can get them monetized and make a lot of money off of that. Which, if that's his plan, then he's pretty smart. I'll give him that. Based on sponsorships, yeah. But you know what? PC. He's a smart guy. You gotta give him his credit, right? He's a smart guy. You know, he worked he worked the YouTube game. And I mean, considering that, I don't know. I think he was just working like some regular job and he was, like living in an apartment in New York. So he could really grow and make a shitload of money. Fair play to him. I mean, he's almost on about 500,000 subscribers, PC. So you're you're gonna get a lot of stuff out of that with sponsorships and that. I mean, you know, yeah, I would take a Hello Fresh sponsorship tomorrow, PC. I'm not at that level yet, but I'll aspire to. But definitely, PC. I see that Ice Cube's son, right? He's a proper big wrestling fan, isn't he? O'Shea Jackson Jr. I don't know. Is he a guy like? I don't know if he has any aspirations of getting in becoming a wrestler, right? But I don't know if he's maybe thinks like maybe he's thinking in his mind he'd want to be a writer, go the Freddie Prince Jr. route. I know he's done an interview with Chris Van Dam. I haven't checked it out yet, but I might check that out later. I just always see like wrestling related stuff he tweets on Twitter. That guy O'Shea Jackson. Okay, okay. I'm just about to. Yeah, I know PC. I did watch clips of that interview earlier, but I know most of it is they'll report it on the wrestling site, so you can pick up what Cena said. I highly doubt Chris asked him about Alex Riley the way. He's not going to ask Cena about what happened, but that's just typical, isn't it? Uh, yeah, typical, typical. He's got to keep his connection with the guys in WWE. It is what it is, right? But okay, so I'm just going to wrap up this live stream. Any final words, comments, questions? Any other questions, guys? Fire away. Yeah, Presto, something that might be the case, that very well might be the case. Um, I think a lot of it just comes down to they don't have the balls to ask him that. They're people like a Sam Roberts. There's just too much of a mark for Cena, I think. Yeah, Sam Roberts. I can only ever watch. I maybe only at most ever watched one or two of his interviews because you know it's the safe questions. It's a lot of softball answers. It's not getting into the nitty gritty. Like I get. But okay, that's me for now, guys. Because I'm just gonna get a wee break and then I'm gonna prepare to do a video. PC gave me a good suggestion there about doing one about getting into the bloodline stuff. So I think I know what I'm gonna get into with speaking about that. Presto, I might pick that one up about the Hall of Fame, people who should be in the Hall of Fame that aren't. That might be a one for another day. But thank you for everybody who came on the live stream. I really do appreciate it. From Barstool. All right, yeah. I've heard some stuff about Barstool, Presto. Like they don't care. And yeah, there's one or two people who maybe would say something. Yeah, I know. But I'm just gonna go now, guys. But I might do another live stream maybe next week. Might be next Monday, Tuesday. I'm gonna at least do a live stream once a week, though, is my plan. But thanks everybody who came on, PC, Presto, Obi, and stay tuned. Look out for my next video. I'm gonna get into the stuff with the bloodline. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya. Bye.